All right, welcome to another Wednesday Wellness Sessions with Ryan and Eilish. Today we're going to be going through something that has been popping up a lot in the women's wellness group and is also one of the biggest challenges that busy women face when undertaking a health and fitness journey, which is, you guessed it, motivation, right? We have all been there. Now, look, I just want to kind of put out there first and foremost, just a bit of like a point of view, right? So I think we've all been there. If you're listening to this right now, I know for a fact you've been there. You are really excited to start something new, right? And let's just kind of take the aspect of this applies to all facets of life, but in particular, we're focusing on your health and fitness journey, right? So there's something shiny or new that we're starting, whether that's a challenge, whether that's starting coaching, whether that's we've decided on Sunday that enough is enough because the button in our jeans won't do up and we're like, well, screw this, I'm making a change. Like tomorrow, I'm starting. Right? So we got to the groceries on Sunday and we're buying all the health foods, the ridiculously marked up prices on the supermarket shelves. I'll just grab some organic chia seeds. It doesn't matter that they're $15. Going straight to the organic section, buying oats that are literally the same, exact same as usual oats. They're just marked as organic. And just as a little aside, because it really grinds my gears, anybody can label their food as organic without it actually having to be certified organic. So just so you know, the organic oats are exactly the same as the ones that you can just get down the breakfast aisle. Just that I do a little bit of a PSA because that's important to me. Now, you're grabbing all these healthy foods, right? And you get home and you're determined and you chuck out all of those tempting foods in the house and you're like, yeah, this is so good. Yeah, I'm gonna hit the ground running tomorrow. And you wake up the next day and motivation's high and you're killing it and you're like, yes, I'm making this huge change. I'm so excited. I can't wait for these jeans to fit again. Can't wait to get my fitness back. Oh, I'm feeling so good, right? And we're doing really well. It's the first half of the week and then all of a sudden, let's just say, for example, like boss comes along on what is it, maybe like Thursday and goes, here's a whole bunch of extra work for you. And all of a sudden, our stress levels are through the roof. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the motivation that we had and how good we were feeling on that journey just seems to dissipate. Now, it's not just the additional stress. It's not just the example of the boss giving you some, extra work. It could really be anything, right? It could be that you need to take your kid to an x-ray appointment out of the blue because he's sprained his ankle. You're not sure if it's a break. It could be something as small as just like getting stuck in traffic on the way home, and for some reason it just really pisses you off, and all of a sudden that motivation just disappears.
And the reason it disappears is because you've been thrown out of that state you were in, which is like it's a state that you're feeling good, and that is never going to last. It's never going to last. Your motivation is never going to be high 24/7. Life's going to always throw challenges at you. So as soon as you get kicked out of that state, you revert back to the person that behaved the same way that you used to. So yeah, that's what's happening. You're just simply going, I'm out of it, and then you revert back.
And you revert back, and it's that same thing, it's that same mentality of starting over Monday, right? So all of a sudden you go, okay, well, I'm no longer motivated. So I'm no longer going to take the actions that I was taking when I was at my most motivated. I'm going to go back to doing what I was, and I'm going to wait for the new shiny thing to roll around, whether that's Monday or the new fad diet or the fat burning pills or the weight loss hypnotherapy, whatever that new shiny thing is. And look, as human beings, and particularly in a society that really prioritizes quick fixes and convenience, it's a very natural thing to want to have that shiny object syndrome. It's very, very usual, but most of us sit around waiting for motivation to find us, overlooking the key formula of motivation, which is action. Now, think about the times in your life where you have been the most motivated. Just let Sally in. Thanks for joining on, Sally. Just make sure, I'm not too sure how to do my...
Leave it on speaker.
On speaker. Okay, perfect. Easy peasy. So we're just going through motivation. So just going through the motivation again, like think about the times that you've been most motivated in your life or on your journey. Now, the times you've been the most motivated most likely correlate with you taking a specific action set. Now, the times for me in my life where I have been the most motivated is when I'm doing workouts. I'm excited for my workout, or when I'm prioritizing things like meal prep because I've taken action, and in turn, these things compound. So what tends to happen is we're sitting around kind of waiting for motivation to come when we don't actually realize that it's the taking action that creates motivation. Motivation can't just appear out of thin air. We need to take action first. Now, we want to talk about things like setbacks as well, right? Or days where we're just not feeling as good. So let's just say you've had an awful night's sleep and like your period's due and you're just bloated and lethargic and you've got a huge day of work ahead. What are the chances you're going to feel motivated to do the hard things that you have said that you're going to do? Chances are it's not very likely. When we're in that state, we don't feel like getting our workouts done. Now, this is a huge discrepancy when it comes to human beings. We act based on how we feel and not actually in line with our core values, right? So if we're tired, we're going to hit snooze based on how we feel, not on our core values. If we're hungry, most of us are going to go straight for the pantry because we're not comfortable sitting in the discomfort of slight hunger pangs. So one of the true testaments, I suppose, to motivation and discipline and to people who are really successful with their long-term health and fitness goals is, delaying that instant gratification. So we're prioritizing our long-term goals over the instant gratification, right? So let's think about, for example, just hitting the snooze button first, right? So alarm goes off, it's 5 a.m., we hit the snooze button. Now that's giving us instant relief, instant pleasure, right? It feels good in the moment. But as the day goes on, we go, oh my gosh, well, I know I'm not going to get my workout done in the afternoon. And now I've broken that promise that I've made to myself. And through the action of not keeping those commitments you've made to yourself, it erodes your self-worth, your self-confidence, and it's also prioritizing the instant gratification over your long-term goals. So Ryan, you had something to say?
Yeah, so and going a little bit deeper is the thing that really helps, one of the core techniques that helps with getting you to take action when you're not motivated is actually understanding more deeply why you want to do it. Because a lot of us are like, I want to lose weight, I want to gain muscle, I want to be consistent, I want to improve my health, but it's a very surface level thing to say. So that's why, if any, like Sally, you've worked with us one-on-one and, your original consultation call with us and working with Eilish, you would have delved very deeply into the why, like how's this affecting your life? How is this impacting the different areas of your life? Like, what are the real core reasons why you want to change? Is it for your family? Is it so you can feel your best? Do you feel like you're a disappointment to yourself? Do you feel like you're not the best version of yourself? So when we really get deep on these core things, it's that those stick with us. Once we've talked about those or written those down or got clear on those stick with us. So when we're sitting there and we have that procrastination moment of like, do I take action or do I not? Those things help just tip you over the edge and get you in the right direction. So yeah, one of the really cool things you can do is do that. And if you don't know how to do that, please ask us. Like, if you want some help with that, you want some exercises, we have a really great resource we could supply called Finding Your Reason Why. So yeah, that's one of those key things you need to know.
Definitely. And just delving deeper into that reason why as well, and back to the surface level kind of things, you'll hear a lot, and this is something we hear quite often as well, which is, I have an engagement party in 3 months and I just want to look my best. I just want to rock up and look my best. Or I just want to be able to wear a bikini in the summer. And look, those are great reasons why. They are fantastic, but they are really surface level. If we think of an iceberg, right, and we have the tip of the iceberg, the ocean, and then the actual reason below here. So what we really want to do is essentially just delve a little bit deeper, kind of just keep digging and keep picking it apart until you actually reach that core reason. Because sure, that would be great to rock up to the engagement party and look amazing, be 10 kilos down, but you're not just going to stop after the engagement party, right? Because you've actually built and forged and maintained a lifestyle that helps you to look and feel your best. It's not just for that particular thing or just because you want to fit into a certain set of clothing. When I dig really deep into my reason why, when I initially started, it was very aesthetic and very, very surface level. It was just, I work so hard in the gym, I just want my physical body to be a representation of all of the work that I put in at the gym, because it was soul destroying for me that I was hitting the gym and lifting heavier and going harder than everybody else there, but I didn't look like I was. It wasn't a representation of the way that I really wanted to look or show up. And so initially it was that very surface level. And when you are losing weight, sure, it's great because all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, okay, well, I'm buying the size down and that's motivating, that's exciting. But there will be a certain point in everybody's journey where you need to look deeper at that reason why. And now for me, as much as the aesthetic side of things is great, I'm happy with that side of things, it is so much deeper for me. I look at my grandmother who passed away at 89 years old, who was still so active and mobile because she had prioritized exercise and her nutrition her entire life. She could get out of bed in the morning at 89 years old by herself. She could stand up, sit down by herself. She only occasionally needed her walker. And then we look at, and particularly people in the healthcare industry as well, Sally is, and we work with so many nurses. And I think for so many of these people who do work in the healthcare industry, every single day they see the result of people who have prioritized instant gratification over that long-term goal, right? People who have unfortunately left it too late when it comes to prioritizing their health. People who can't get out of bed by themselves, who need assistance 24/7. And so a really key reason for me to continue living this lifestyle is I want to get to 89. Number one, I want to do my absolute utmost to get to 89 and take all of those premeditative steps that I possibly can, but also ensure that my quality of life is as good as it can be for as long as it can be, that I can get out of bed unassisted, that I can still sit down on the floor with the grandkids or whatever it is, when I am in my 80s, and how amazing that would be. So I think, there is that point where if initially the reason why isn't really there, that's a-okay. It will compound, but through the process of, I suppose, the overall process of living a healthful lifestyle, you do dig deeper into the actual reason why. And that is where that true motivation comes in. Motivation for me isn't that shiny thing. It's just that knowing, that deep knowing of this is the way I want to choose to live my life for these outcomes later in life.
100%. And then I guess to probably like wrap things up on a hard note is like motivation's never ever going to be there. Like you just got to get over it. Like people that probably look at people that are successful, and I actually know they do, like even people look at us and probably think that people look at you, Sally, and probably think that, where it's like,
so motivated,
they must just be motivated all the time. Like, how do they do it? And it's like, no.
Do you remember the last time you were ever motivated? I cannot remember the last time I was motivated for anything.
We get up out of bed every morning and we get it done no matter what. And sometimes when the shit really hits the fan, we're human beings and sometimes we don't do it. But it's got to be a pretty good reason for us to not do it, because we always weigh that up. Am I being slack, or is this a real reason? And most of the time you're just choosing to be slack. So you just got to get your ass into gear and get it done.
We're a result of, all the actions we consistently take over the period of the previous 6 to 12 months, right? We are what we do most of the time, not some of the time. And I know people can really beat themselves up for going, oh, well, I slept through my alarm just this once and I missed this workout. Like, we are human. That is a-okay. But like Ryan said, it's really about finding that line for you. And it's a hard line to find of, am I being too kind to myself? Because that is something that is so prevalent in today's society. Am I being too kind to myself right now and letting myself off the hook? There's a difference between going, I had a stressful day at work, I'm just going to eat an entire pizza, I'm not going to go for that walk, I'm not going to get my workout done tomorrow, right? That's almost too kind and letting ourselves off the hook. And then there's also obviously that level of discipline and that high standard that we need to set for ourselves, because at the end of the day, and this is something that took me years to learn, no one's coming to save us. No one is coming to save us. Like, at the end of the day, we coach our amazing members, and Sally, we've worked with you too, but we're not there to hold your hand every day. You had to put in all that work. Our one-on-one members have to put in that work. We're the only ones who can put into play the actions that we want to take to get the outcomes that we want to get, despite the accountability and guidance. So it's really down to us, which is a very hard and scary truth. But I think the sooner we accept that, the more willing we are to take action on what really matters to us.
Awesome.
Cool. Nice, quick and easy one today, just going through motivation. But like we mentioned, any questions, please let us know. If there's any other topics you'd love covered, please ask in the group. It would be fantastic. But again, Sally, thank you so much for joining us. It's always awesome to see you here, and we will see you again next Wednesday.